Then we're ready for the next presentation from this edition of BioStock Live, and that will be Polymer Factory and CEO Michael Malkoch. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Cecilia, for the introduction. My name is Michael Malkoch, and I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Polymer Factory. And I'm happy today to share with you the company's technology, which are based on dendritic nanomaterials. And I will give you, in a short term, the general optics of what the company does and what its future is. So let me start off by first sharing with you what are dendritic materials. So dendritic materials are actually found in nature. The best example, I would say, is a tree, in a sense that it has a lot of branches and it has also a lot of roots. As a result, this type of structure have maximized their interaction with their surroundings. So dendritic comes from the word dendron, which means a tree or a branch. And this is actually the core technology that Polymer Factory does. It is a bit different from typical polymers, which are more like spaghettis. Dendritic materials start off with a core and branches out. And as a result, you get an exponential number of active sites of which you can manipulate these type of structures. In nature, I would say pound for pound, if you would look on a material of similar sizes, then proteins would be the ones that you should look at. What is unique with dendritic material is that we can nowadays make them with such precision that they are as flawless as nature does proteins. And this is a remarkable technology that today is not found in many other polymer type of families. And this is what Polymer Factory's expertise and products and technologies are based on. So the company was founded in 2006 because of the need. So in the scientific community, there has been a lot of groups and research related to dendritic polymers. There's over 10,000 publications related to dendritic materials. However, commercialization-wise, because they are so exclusive, have been quite scarce. Polymer Factory in 2006 made a decision to put forward our own platform, which are based on a molecule called bis-MPa. And it was a collective assembly of individuals, both professors, but also entrepreneurs. And what we were envisioning and had as a vision is to generate novel innovations based on these type of materials that today were not possible. In a sense, if I would look on Polymer Factory today and say, what is its mission and its vision, is to actually accelerate innovation and put forward next generation solution for the healthcare sector, for instance, based on our dendritic platforms. So the company today have accelerated the introduction of dendritic polymers. It has accelerated also the technology called spherical, which is for mass spectrometry calibrations, and also aims now on accelerating and marketing and commercializing the new platform of a drug delivery system, which is called dendritic nanogels, or DNGs. The company today has revenue streams that are quite stable, and they are niched because we have a niche products. They are based on dendritic materials, also the calibration family called spherical, as well as that we have customized projects. Of course, something else that we have been very successful with is to secure funds from, for instance, Vinnova and EU. So where do we span? Why do we call them dendritic nanotechnology? It's quite obvious. The materials that we do produce and package and sell are in the regions of nanometers, and a nanometer is 10 to the power of -9, so it's extremely small particles, and they are somewhere between 1 nanometers, and we can go the whole way to several hundred nanometers, which gives us quite of a unique position in a sense of providing such an array of different nanoscopic materials for the end users. And potential applications can be found in a lot of different areas and sectors. In a sense, I found dendritic nanotechnology or nanomaterials a bit like stem cells. Depending what the end use is, you can manipulate or formulate our materials to aid in enhancing a specific properties. And fields of which this type of platform can fit in is, for instance, wound dressings, is in functional hydrogels, is for detection, so diagnostics, for instance, and also nanomedicines. One thing that we put forward ourselves because of their unique features has been the spherical, which is a calibrant for mass spectrometries. And why this was a defined, really unique product is because today you typically would use proteins and peptides. However, our materials have such an edge on top of, in comparison to the current calibrants, that we could successfully produce them and commercialize them. So this is why we are in the region of nano, in a sense. And the markets are quite remarkable. If I just look into the pillar of nanomedicines, which today is a way to deliver a drug, for instance, or an RNA, you already know about COVID vaccines, etc., cancer delivery systems. They're all in a region of nanomedicines. And that's because the delivery systems are nanoscopic materials. And the market for that is remarkable. You're up in almost 150 billion euros, only for the nanomedicine market, obviously. But also, if you zoom in on the mass spectrometry sector, the market for spherical, a specific market for the spherical technique that we are providing, is today considered to be around 380 million euros. So these are the two markets that I'm sharing with you now. Obviously, the product can migrate to so many different markets that it's quite of a burden to share what would be the market segment that these materials could fit into. So if I share the three technologies and what is the value of them, as I said, the dendritic materials today that we have, we can synthesize them with such precision that they can mimic nature's way to produce them to be perfect nanomaterials. What is also very important to say is that our materials are really biocompatible, they're biodegradable, they are, because of their branching structure, you can load them with a high density of groups. And as a result of their structural perfection, it gives you a batch-to-batch consistency that today you can't find in other delivery systems. And this is one of the reasons why we, in an earlier date, were actually identified as a top drug delivery companies to look out for. So if you look on the right here, you can actually see how perfect. This is a mass spectrometer. It tells you the mass of our materials. And you can see this beautiful peak here, which represent a perfect structure. This is nothing that you can find in a normal drug delivery system. Only dendrimers can provide them, except, I would say, proteins and biologics. In the nanomedicine field, today it's already known that only 5% of all delivery system that goes into clinical trials end up successful. The rest seem to not reach the whole way. And one of the reasons would be the consistency of the delivery system, that because of human flaws and also structural flaws of the delivery system, you don't get good reproducibility, and a lot of these products and or delivery system are getting waived or considered as not suitable for future medicines. Also, when it comes to spherical, as I said, today mass spectrometries are used everywhere. It's a benchmark technique. You can find them in anything. If you buy a medicine, that medicine has been analyzed in a proper manner. It's typically a mass spec that is being used. If you have a disease such as sepsis or infection or even COVID, you would probably use a mass spectrometry to identify that. If you have food contaminants, let's say you have a bacterial infection in the food, you would use the mass spectrometries. And mass spectrometries are used everywhere, and you can find them everywhere, from hospitals to lab environments. So these are dominant companies that are providing. These are multi-billion companies that provide them. They are quite expensive instruments. However, these instruments need to be constantly calibrated. If they are not calibrated correctly, you will have an issue of getting false positive results or negative results. And as a result, you need to calibrate them. And that's where the spherical technology comes in. It's actually a great technology that can be used both in the back end, which means that you can always and continuously calibrate the instrument to give right results, but also in the front end, which means that you can include the calibrants together with an analyte. For instance, if a patient have a specific disease, and you can nail down that disease in a much higher accuracy. And that's the only technique, that's the only calibrant out there that can do this is spherical. This is such robust system and does not interact with anything, that it gives always great results. I would say it's the best calibrant for dummies if you are doing analytical evaluations of that material. And also the DNG is the new technology. This is a great platform. It is based on our dendritic materials. We can produce them in different sizes. We can program them to actually embed whatever we are interested in. They have high loading capacity. They are biocompatible and biodegradable. These are excellent elements. If you anywhere want to introduce something as a delivery system, for instance, for human clinical use, you really need to make sure that the system that delivers is also biocompatible and biodegradable, and also decrease the toxicity of whatever you're delivering. And this is a platform that definitely can do this. We have shown that we can deliver antibiotics. We have shown that we can deliver drugs, cancer drugs. We have shown that you can encapsulate peptides, etc. These are obviously done in a ex vivo environment and not considered done. We haven't done this in a human trials or any of that. So the general optics, the overall optics of the company is that we have these three technologies. We do the production ourselves, and we do the sales globally or through our resellers. We have today 3 different resellers, of which 2 of them are Merck and Creative Pegworks. We have great partnership with chemical providers that provide a limited number of our products. We have a strong patent portfolio, considering of 4 patents related to spherical, but also a new patent that is related to the dendritic nanogels that we are now pursuing to commercialization. We are also very active in reaching out to customers, and customers reaching out actually to us related to contracts and research related projects. And we have been quite successful in delivering great results to our partners. And of course, we also have the mass spectrometry calibrant spherical that we believe will be the market leading calibrant in the future when it comes to mass spec and beyond. So production-wise, we produce materials anywhere between 5 to 50 grams when it comes to the high-end products, which are called dendrimers and dendrons. They are called high-end because they are perfect structures. We can scale them up even further. Let's say a big pharma comes in and want to use our technology. We won't have any issue to scale up the technology, all of our technologies. We also have the multifunctional pegs and the hyperbranched materials that are provided by our partners and that we sell further. And of course, we produce also our spherical calibrants ourselves, package them, and all the materials are produced in, as I said, in grams to even kilograms, but all sold in much lower quantities. And typical range for a gram sales would be between 1,000 to 6,000 euro per gram for the more high-end materials, while the dendritic materials would be around the high multifunctional pegs, and the hyperbranched polymers would be at lower cost. The most high-end product is obviously spherical, where we produce them in 50 gram scales but sell them in 50 microgram scales, and every kit contains 50 microgram and sold for almost 300 euro per kit. So it's a huge gross margin there. And we have, as I said, Merck as a great reseller. We use Merck as a distributor, global distributor. Of course, we also sell a lot on our e-commerce site, and that has been a great addition that we actually pursued in 2019. And if you look on the market that we have, heavily tilted to the US. Almost 50% of all sales come from the US customers, and a third would come from European market, and the rest to the rest of the world. And most of the customers are very, very much in the front end of technological breakthroughs. It includes big pharmas, it includes biotech and medtech companies. You see companies that are working in vaccines here. We have OEMs, so instrument manufacturers, that have been extremely interested in SpheriKal, and we have a lot of renowned universities. And these are companies that have been purchasing. So our customers typically contact us. The company has, as of now, been focusing on developing its technology and less on actually reaching out to its customer. And we do get, at any given month, we have at least one multi-billion companies that buy our products online or by sending purchase orders. And that is a unique position for a small company with such unique technologies. And we do see that any customer that come to us and purchase and repurchase is a potential partner. And this is something that now we are considering and we want to pursue. And this is one of the reasons why we are doing this IPO. I'm just going to share with you here a bit about how selected number of customers have been purchasing from us. Obviously, this is under COVID period, and you can see here that on what you've shown now is all the research institutes and the university that have been purchasing materials from us. And on top here, you can see companies that have been purchasing. I haven't included all the companies that have been buying stuff or buying products from us. This is just a limited numbers. And typical orders would be around 300 to 5,000 euro. And we would either get them through our e-commerce site if they are US-based companies, or through POs from companies from Europe or the rest of the world. And also what's important is, if you see companies, this is something that we always have in mind, is when companies are returning companies, then we are considering them as potential partners and we pursue contact with them. And these two, the TIBA and the BaseClick, these are vaccine-based companies that are trying to unfold a new generation of vaccines, while Illumina is an established company that works on diagnostics. And what is ahead? Well, we hope that by 2023 that the company will expand. What we are looking forward to is to expand our organization. We have already identified the new CEO who will take over the company responsibility. She will start off the 1st of April. For my sake, I will go more in depth into the company and work as a CTO. We have Mats van Neer, who's already on board working with the business development, and also Dr. Jamie Godfrey, who works on dendritic materials. So this is what we are aiming on doing now, is to strengthen the company and as a result scaling up its business and sales activity towards increased revenues, I would say. Yeah, that's all I had to say. So thank you all for listening in, and I'm prepared to take some questions if there is any.
Thank you, Michael. I do have a couple of questions for you. This technology that you have developed can be used for a wide range of applications. Why have you chosen to start with drug delivery and mass spectrometry?
Well, drug delivery, it's obvious. In the drug delivery field, you're always looking for a magic bullet. And the magic bullet means that it's a carrier that can deliver a product, for instance, a drug, to its end destiny. And out of all drug delivery systems that are not naturally produced, such as proteins, dendrimers rises to the challenge because they are perfect. You can load them with a lot of drugs. You can protect the drug from being toxic to the body, but also you can protect the body from the drug to be too toxic for it. And also, because of their precision and degradability, it makes them really as the next generation of drug delivery systems. I would say this is the most unique platform synthetic platform that can pound for pound compare itself to the biologics that is out there today. And it can obviously be used together with biological entities also. When it comes to the spherical and mass spectrometry, it's the same there. Today, they use proteins and peptides as calibrant because they are perfect. And you need to have a perfect structure to actually calibrate the machine and have the machine learning. This is the size that is you're analyzing. Now, because the dendritic materials that we have are as perfect as the proteins, they can match them in many ways. But what they also are is they are superior to proteins because of they are more robust and easily produced in larger scale. So this is the reason why we have chosen these two routes as of now. But there's other opportunities ahead, I'm sure.
Continuing to look ahead then, where would you say you hope to see the company in about 5 years?
Well, in 5 years, I hope the company has grown multiple times over, increasing the number of employees beyond what is 2023, that we have larger facilities available, and that we are a dominant player when it comes to mass spectrometry calibrant, as well as that our product have already become a key element, for instance, in a delivery system, together with partners that are out there that are looking for innovative platforms to use. That is where I do see our way forward as of now. One thing to keep in mind is that Polymer Factory is always courted by universities that have innovative dendritic technologies produced, of which they would love Polymer Factory to take a lead in commercializing and accelerating the innovation. And I think with a listing and capitalization of the company, we will have the right momentum to address this in a much better way, to take the company even further and become I would say a key player in the field of nanotechnologies.
And finally then, moving from the long term to the near term, what are the main near term milestones for your company?
The near milestone is to strengthen the company with key personnel. We are already now interviewing sales personnel, as well as key product managers that can fill in the voids that we believe is a way to move forward. And I do hope that by the end of this year, that structure will partly be filled in, or positions be filled in. I also hope that in the near future that we will have secured a partnership with at least one of the partners that we have been in discussion with. I think the way forward is to accelerate our DNG technology also, and put forward the spherical together with the OEM instruments. Those would be the way to go in the near future.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, and we will be right back with a presentation from Suxion.